Hello and welcome to another turn of Dominions 5. We are playing as Berytos. We're going to try and salvage our position. Oops. No, that's not how we're going to start doing that. Okay. We launched another site, or another attack, with our troops. We should be able to tank this heavy cav. Normally, obviously, throwing your sacred troops in front of heavy cav is not what you want to do. But we outnumber them, or at least are about even. And our guys have a tremendous amount of defense, so hopefully we won't get lanced too badly. And we should also kill them quickly. This guy just got hit, I think. No. Chip damage. Here comes the rest of their forces. These are heavy infantry. Most of the cavalry is dead already, though. And we've got some blood surge going. This guy's gotten himself a little far out. Cavalry manages to avoid routing and die to a man. But with just the heavy infantry left, as long as our priest stays alive, we should finish chopping through them. I think that looked lossless. Yep. So this is how, ideally, the expansion was supposed to go the whole time, when you don't have your priest get picked off. Oh, it's 18 gems. That's nice. And another, okay, 22 gems. We only have luck 1, I think. Yeah, so that's just fortunate. Here we went ahead and we've gotten a number of troops together. Go ahead and hold an attack closest. Hold an attack closest. Stay behind troops. Let's get them. Oh, even these guys don't have. Oh, only leadership 60. All right. Still going to be a box formation then. We'll put the elephants back here. And blessing, blessing spells, still correct. We can then take these two forces, move on the deer tribe. I think we actually want to, I think we can even move, let's move you back. I think these can be up a tad. Because these guys are basically immune to the arrow fire of the deer tribe. It's just if they get our priest that we're in trouble. But this should be okay. Let's go ahead and put PD. 8,000. We got trogs and we've got undead. So, let's consider our strategy. These are the exit provinces for this nation, which we still haven't seen. We're moving our scout there. You know, they don't appear to have expanded well either. We're honestly so lucky that this is a new player game, or I guess we're not lucky. We are correctly placed in a new player game because everybody else's expansion also seems to be poor. Sealing off these two provinces would be really nice to make this border. This would sort of be, I think, a neutral border if we get both of these. And I do want them, but I think, given that we're Berytos, this lake, and then this route to this wasteland is our more important strategic objective. So I think that our plan is to head north and try and seal this. I think that that makes more sense than attempting to go south. We can backfill this stuff later. What kind of troops have we got here? Pair of blood twos. So we could take this force. These, honestly, even 5 guys is more than enough to take these out. 5 of our better troops. But we'll take some of these backups as well. Morale's better on this guy, so blessing, blessing spells. Hold and fire closest. Hold and attack closest. In the rear. Something like this. And then these two, let's make sure we get the guy who we gave orders to. Ah, excellent. They can, thank goodness for our heat scales. This is going to be a big boost that we can get here this next turn and give us a good chance at getting one or both of these provinces that we otherwise might not have access to. We're still very behind on our fortress, but not sure there's too much we can realistically do about that at this point. We simply just don't have the territories yet that we want to fort. We can probably afford 2 to 3 additional forts if we're lucky. But we can't afford, too many more than that, and we want to put some here and here as strategic forts, as opposed to simply forting this province. On the other hand, right, we're still several turns away, probably, from making these forts, so there's pluses and minuses. We don't have the money this turn anyway. We could also do this. We have an extra priest, so we can afford to take a turn off from making one and get the bride in waiting. That's going to be able to start site searching for us as well. We're going to need all the gems we can get for a first conflict, as well as obviously all the troops. And we're only going to make, I think we're only going to make one of these instead of, because they're hard for 415 gold. So that's still quite a bit more. It's about, it's a little bit less than 3 of these priests. So we're not saving money, even though it's a 2-turn recruit mage, but I just want to get our site searching going. And we have a backup guy to lead another party. And we're not going to be attacking, I think, either of these parties with just Colossi anyway. We're probably going to try and recruit up a larger number of spearmen and use them as the assault. Let's see if there's any good mercenaries. These guys are mostly dead, and these are already spoken for. It looks like Satis is busy buying up all the mercenaries. How much do these cost? 198. Yeah, it's too much for 19 people. There's a chance they could take these Lion Tribe by themselves, but I don't think I want to risk it, especially when we have a force that's going to be able to take them out the next turn, no problem. So, is anybody else who needs to move? Random extra commander, that's perfect. So he could either move, we could either link up with the other group, or we could send him home so that when more troops pop out next turn, that forms a cohesive group. I think we're better off sending him forwards. And then, so that means that we'll have 5, 8 colossi, and then another 8 of our spearmen. That might, we only have one priest though. Because it could be if we send 4 and 4 should be enough to take out both of these groups. The Colossi Warriors, I mean, they're not Sacred Cav, but we have a pretty strong bless. Maybe that's what we do. Maybe we do this. So that way we can send out 2 parties next turn to hit both of these at once. Let's make sure we script this guy while we are doing that. That means that we won't have a priest to lead any new troops next turn, but we'll just spend 2 turns recruiting troops. I think that's okay, because we're going to need to move here anyway. Given that we're sending multiple force, I mean, even 8 guys. So let's see. The risk is not that these kill our colossi. It's that they rout our colossi when the slingers die, or the militia spearmen, whatever they are. What are they? Spearmen. How much of a risk do I think? Do I think that is? Because we could also try and buoy them with these mercs, Bernard's brave men. I'm not sure exactly which what merc that is. Let's go ahead. They're pikeneers. Okay, pikeneers are pretty good. There's 19 pikeneers. Like, we could choose not to get our bride. To wait a turn on the bride, recruit the pikeneers, bolster this upcoming force, and then hit both of these. That's also very reasonable. Trying to remember if let's see if I here. Let's go ahead and mark this unfinished. Let's see if I save turn 8 for Berytos or not. Because no, let's check turn 7. I want to see if these have been waiting around or if this is the fresh turn. Okay, so 2 turns. So this is the fresh turn that they didn't get recruited. So somebody else might also be pushing for them. And we've seen a decent number of other people going after mercenaries. I mean, we lost a mercenary already. So I think we'll stick with our plan and look to take both of these with just the handful of troops that we do have. And we may not it may not be like a 4-4 split. This group is really weak. It may be that we send more of the better colossi here and just have the spearmen plus, a handful of colossi attack here. So, okay, so we're looking at hopefully 2 expansions this turn, and then next turn potentially 3 expansions. If we can be a little bit fortunate, this group will probably then reconvene at the capital, and we'll maybe look to backfill, depending on what we see here. Okay, no more moves to make. So we're certainly still not out of the woods yet, but it looks like our neighbors haven't expanded well either, and they may give us enough time to recover from our earlier mistakes. The tricky part will be getting these forts up before we're attacked, because that's definitely a problem that we could run into as well. We've lost sight of... Oh, so here's T and She. Okay, we got to send a message to T and She to see where they're... Just to start building see who they are. Start building a rapport with them in case they're interested in an alliance against Rus. And we're still looking for that southern... So is the southern... So it's us, Rus, T and She, and the other name. So it's 4 people per column. So T and She is our only possible ally against both of these enemies. So definitely going to be an extremely valuable ally. And we're valuable to each other. I recognize that we're playing in an anti-dogpile map, and my first thought is how do we get into a nice 2v1? But we're Berytos, and we need we've had bad expansion, so we're gonna need all the help we can get. Plus, I mean, looks like Rus is pressing into T and She's territory. That's the equivalent of being no, okay, it's not quite. It's the equivalent of being here. That's okay, so they're not quite pressing in yet, but it would be nice now that we know it's T and She. The scout's more useful down here. It might be useful to see who takes this. We could also try and CT and Cheese Plus. I mean, we're going to sort of see what we can see on this side. As far as Roost goes, this is certainly theirs, and we want to try and get these. Not sure which one we'll get first. Getting this one is more important to our sealing this off. Getting this is a better province for income by itself. And it doesn't seal off this column. So, okay, that's what we've got for Berytos. We're trying to recover from our stumble, but it looks like we might get enough time. Our enemies might. What'll be really interesting is if we see a flag show up here next turn, and what that means for our ability to take one or both of these. We may have to consolidate and take just one if there's too much danger from whoever this is. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining me. Hope maybe this will not be the shortest Berytos series of all time. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Go ahead and submit.